Yes. Oh, what a way to start the show off. Welcome back to episode 389 of the Purple Rain podcast. Our fourth consecutive day together, which is a record. So I hope you aren't sick of seeing our faces yet, because we still have some Ravens news to talk about 4 days in a row. So I think that is definitely exciting times here in the Ravens atmosphere. But welcome back to episode 389, the Mark Andrews edition, of course, the Steve Smith edition of the Purple Rain podcast, the Mark Clayton edition, Travis Taylor of the Purple Rain podcast. And yes, you can follow us here on Instagram at the Purple Rain podcast. This guy right here on Instagram or on X at SuttonDef. Me, Instagram simply as10.prod, X simply as10. And the Ravens have signed some guys, they've lost some guys, and we'll get all into that. But I want to know how you were doing first off, Sutton. Obviously, I think our feelings have kind of went from like up here to like down here and then like right back up. Like the stock market,
Yeah.
up and down and up. It's definitely been a weird week. I'll tell you that right now. And it has been nice to see, our summer signings have went through. Physicals were passed.
Yeah.
Wink, wink. Deals were made official. And McChickens were bought. We will get into all of that. But yeah, how are you feeling? It's been a whirlwind of a week.
No, yeah, man. I mean, you mentioned it. It's very interesting how, when you are caught up in the heat of the moment of something, like how your emotions can cause you to sometimes think irrationally, sometimes just kind of have you, not thinking all the way as logically as you could be. And that's kind of like where I found myself at, especially, the night that the Maxx Crosby trade fell through, right? We were here on this podcast and I was enraged, right? Because I mean, I felt like I had something that, I was really, really looking forward to. Hell, Alex, I don't think I told you this. Once I found out we got Maxx Crosby, guess what I did? Immediately following the news, when I heard we traded for Maxx Crosby, I went and I purchased Madden, Madden NFL 26. Hadn't had it. And I downloaded a custom roster just so I could play with Maxx Crosby on the Ravens, only for him to be ripped away from me. Not even 48 hours later from that. It was crazy, right? But I've had a couple of days to kind of simmer on it, and think about, okay, all right, let me think about what the real situation is here. Trey Hendrickson, star pass rusher, comparable talent to Maxx Crosby. Like I said yesterday, Alex, you do lose some of the intangibles, some of the personality stuff that you really think could really be a resounding factor throughout the locker room, especially the defensive side of that football, that dog mentality. I feel like you're losing that. But again, comparable talent, right? Probably maybe even a little bit of a pass rusher, nowhere near the run defender, obviously. But I say you get that, and then you also get 2 first-round picks back. It's like I can't be mad. Like logically, I can't be mad. My emotions are still like, yeah, Trey Hendrickson may have passed that physical, but I'm gonna wait till September before I believe it truly, fully. That's where I'm kind of at, like emotionally still, but logically speaking, I am in a much better place today, Alex. I am. Always blessed 410 kicking us off here with a super chat donation. Thank you so much. Dropping the 5 in the chat. Says, did EDC say anything about still getting Maxx Crosby? I feel like it's still a possibility. And the answer to that is a big fat no. Always blessed 410. He did not say anything about still getting Maxx Crosby. However, he did mention how, his phone has not stopped ringing since this whole trade has fallen through. He still has the utmost respect for John Spytek and those guys over in Las Vegas. So would I think it's fully off the table? Maybe not, right? Because I mean, if the calls kind of start going cold for Maxx Crosby, but even then, I heard a report today, Alex. Somebody had reported that teams are hearing from the Raiders now that they're not willing to trade Maxx Crosby any longer. Like they're going
Yes.
to hold on to him, and I'm like, okay, how is that going to work with all of the other cap acquisitions you just got on the first day of free agency? I don't really know how they're going to work all that out, but Alex, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think he's not going anywhere. I know he just tweeted 19 hours ago with the Undertaker gif hopping out of a coffin saying, everything happens for a reason. Believe nothing you hear and half of what you see. I'm a Raider. I'm back. Run that shit. Okay. That kind of is very right there. He's going to stay a Raider. My thing is, run that shit. Are we sure we're gonna not finish fourth place in the AFC West for the third year in a row? And no hate towards him. I am a Maxx Crosby fan even after this, but there's a reason why you wanted out, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. It was kind of well known in the league. You were not happy there because you wanted to win, and now them spending all this money on Kobe Dean, spending money on Tyler Linderbaum, spending money on all these guys, Quiddy Pay. Just because you spend money for agency does not translate to winning football. So good on them. I've seen Raiders fans talking crazy, like if we see them in the playoffs.
The what? Excuse me?
Let's
No,
not finish last in our division. Let's
come on.
baby steps. Let me finish third in the AFC West. They're in the hardest division right now in the league. Like
Oh yeah,
talking
easily,
crazy, but
easily.
I think he's gonna stay a Raider and good for them. It's probably the best. But as more and more is coming out, man, I'm really starting to believe they try to sell a lemon. I'm really starting to believe that because
What do you mean?
I'm starting to think there was more to his whole I word. I've seen some
Uh,
things that possibly with the cartilage in his knee. That was a big worry. I think the Ravens, the reports coming out, the fact that we really tried to like make this thing work shows we wanted him, but just was not worth the 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting, like, because we really don't know whether or not the Raiders were being fully forthcoming about the true depths of this I word, right? And for those of you guys who are new here to the Purple Rain podcast, we try to refrain from saying the INJURY word here on the show. A little bit of superstition, right? Just rock with us, just walk with us, right? Again, welcome to the Rain Gang. Um, but yeah, we don't know whether or not the Raiders were operating in the best faith when it came to revealing the actual details of his I word. But at the end of the day, if I'm the Ravens, like before I even let it hit the media, right, that we're trading 2 first-round picks for Maxx Crosby to come to Baltimore, I'm gonna make sure that we go and we examine Maxx Crosby ourselves, right? Me and the team doctor, we will fly to wherever you need us to fly to. I'll have my doctor take a look at Maxx Crosby, and if everything looks good coming from my doctor's end, then yeah, now I'll give you the 2 first round picks. We can verbally agree, and you can go public with it. If we're not doing that beforehand, why would you ever have gone public with that information? Because now all it is just a stain on your reputation, Eric DeCosta. I mean, I don't care if he says that, yeah, my phone hasn't stopped ringing. I don't give a damn. I mean, the reports have already come out that a couple GMs called cap. They called BS on what you did. You reneged, right? I don't know if we have any spades players out there. I'm certainly not one of them. But I hear reneging is a very bad thing in that game. You can't do that. Can't go back on your word. And that's exactly what EDC did in pulling back this Maxx Crosby trade. So I don't know whether or not the Raiders were operating in good faith, but EDC should have did more due diligence. That's just me.
Yeah, I agree. I know there was a screenshot, I believe, that came out. Obviously, taking this with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Um, a Raven fan kind of just gave the breakdown and what they tried. So I'm gonna read this. I'm taking with a grain of salt, basically saying there was no cartilage left in his knee. And at 29 years old, it gets harder and harder to regenerate it. So that's kind of what one person have said, and they reached out to like 5 or 6 doctors, and just wasn't looking good. And the Ravens, like I said, they still wanted to keep him. I think that looks good for them, but the Raiders, I'm looking at them with a side eye right now. Like, are we sure you acted in good faith? But what's over is over. Crosby is a Raider. Trey Hendrickson is a Raven.
Yeah.
That's where we're
And
at.
more on Trey Hendrickson later on in this episode. We're going to take a close look on what exactly will Trey Hendrickson bring to this Baltimore Ravens defense, right? So stay tuned for that. And make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new here to the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel, again, my name is Sutton Duff. That is my co-host, Simply AS10. We do go live every Monday and Thursday. Although this week, it's been a news frenzy, right? It's been chaos, right? So we've been live literally like every day, So here we are again, showing up for you guys, and we appreciate you guys showing up for us. We do each and every time. It's been a long week, and you guys have been there every step of the way. Shout out to the entire Rain Gang family out there. And again, be sure to like the video. Now, Alex, before we get into some of this more pressing Ravens related news, you want to get some quick hitters out of the way really quick.
Let's do
Um, this whole Kyler Murray thing, this is news that is very fresh. It just dropped. Do you have it pulled up in front of you? What he got? I've got a bunch of screens up right here
yeah, I
and
got you.
monitors and crap. But I hear good old Kyler is a Viking now. you know?
Kyler is a Viking. Yes. I don't think details have been released. Oh, it's a 1-year contract, league minimum,
Ooh.
because the Cardinals owe him 36.8 million this year.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
really cheap.
So, I mean, it's just like but if you're the Vikings, though, 1 year minimum deal, you get him for mad cheap, dirt cheap, right? But, like, what's the end game? You know what I mean, Alex? Like, do you really expect Kyler Murray, or are you gonna try to see if Kyler Murray and, who's up there, O'Connell, right, still? Yeah, I mean, are you gonna see if, like, they can mesh together? And I mean, I get it, him with Justin Jefferson, that's probably gonna be a lot of fun to watch, I'm not gonna lie to you. Those moon balls are gonna be a lot of fun to watch because Kyler Murray throws a very, very nice football, but I just don't know if he's the future, man. I've been on record saying this. I'm out on the undersized quarterbacks, right? I don't think it's conducive to winning football in 2026, especially with how athletic and bigger these defensive guys are getting, especially on the fronts. I mean, at some point, you just stop being able to see over the line, and unless you're Tua Tagovailoa and you just hit your back foot and you just pray, right? You just throw it over the middle. Where I mean, he saw some success doing that, but you're not going to be able to do that against some of the higher end defenses that are schemed up by the likes of a Mike McDonald, that are schemed up by the likes of a Jesse Minter, and so on and so forth. So I just don't know again what the end game is, and maybe you can enlighten me if you have any ideas, Alex. What is the end game for the Vikings in getting Kyler Murray?
7 wins is what I see them getting. I think Kyler Murray will start off maybe with 1 or 2 wins their first couple of games, and then they'll fall off the hill just like at the Cardinals. He'll get stashed in the 1 o'clock or 4:25 window. Me and you won't sit there and be like, man, I want to watch the Vikings. It'll just be a game in the back that you won't watch, or if you're watching Red Zone, it'll pop up every once in a while. But I just don't see this turning them even to a wild card contender. The NFC North, I think still the Bears are better than them. I think the Packers are better than them, and the Lions as well. So this to me does not move them up in the rankings for the NFC North. I guess it's better than McCarthy, but that's not really saying a whole lot considering I know they were thinking about bringing Kirk Cousins back over JJ McCarthy. So I guess good for him. Maybe a new scenery. But once again, he falls into having a fantastic receivers to play with, and a great offensive head coach. So it could work, and if it works, it looks perfect with them. 1 year cheap. But that's kind of the way some of these teams have been going that cannot find stable quarterbacks. Look at the Colts. They kind of sparked luck with Daniel Jones, and I think the Vikings are hoping they can get some of that with Kyler Murray.
Hey, listen, Alex, I'll tell you one thing. If you are an avid fantasy footballer out there and you're listening and you want to get a strategy together for this upcoming season, I think that Justin Jefferson, off of the year that he's just had, he's going to fall in a lot of drafts. And a lot of people nowadays are, employing the strategy of their first two picks being wide receivers, right? Instead of, just blindly going with the best running back available in the first round, right? So I think you'll be able to get Justin Jefferson for a steal, depending on where you pick at in your drafts. Because look, Kyler Murray's going to get him the ball. Right. And
Mm.
again, I think you're going to see a lot of production down the field. Justin Jefferson's going to want to bounce back after the frustrating year that he had last year. I mean, he was literally on Radio Row Super Bowl week talking about like, you're going to have down years when you have like basically a young struggling quarterback. Right. And it's kind of like an inadvertent shot he took there at his quarterback, JJ McCarthy, like, hey, like this guy can't really get me the ball yet. He's still working on it, guys. Don't worry. But like, read between the lines here, read my lips here. He can't get me the ball. Kyler Murray will be able to get him the ball. And I think, yeah, definitely if you're a fantasy owner, you can count on that for sure.
Yeah, so that was that news with the whole Kyler Murray. I see
Yeah.
Chef Spicy Rice brings up Josh Sweat. He retired today after 6 years, so he will
Oh,
not be
really?
a Raven. Yeah, um, they mentioned some trade rumors, but he kind of handed in the retirement papers, and he's retiring from the NFL.
Yeah.
Um, I think at a young age, so good on him. It was personal. Um, any other? I mean, big earner. I see C.J. Gardner Johnson went to the Bills, former
Yeah.
Raven. All of what a week last year, he was a Raven.
About the that Jaire Alexander news? Did you hear about that?
I did. I
What
did.
was that all about? I like skimmed by that. I saw he had to like pay back the Eagles some money or something. I was like, oh, this seems a little bit odd, a
So
little interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
we traded him last year for
Yeah.
like a 6th round pick.
Hmm.
And it turns out there was a Philadelphia payoff in the trade. They received $889,000 salary cap credit and the corresponding cash itself, which Alexander paid back to the Eagles, even though he never played a game for the franchise. League sources told ESPN, which is very weird. Sorry, Bryce
Eli
Huff.
Sports Guy, Bryce Huff. Okay,
There's
gotcha,
been
gotcha,
so much
gotcha.
news. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm getting all my
Yeah.
guys mixed up. It's been like
Oh
nonstop
my
guys.
goodness. It's overstimulating for sure. If you follow the likes of Adam Schefter and Ari Myrov and all these other outlets and whatnot, like you're just seeing all these names just being just transactions after transactions. I understand how you can get that mixed up, but thank you so much, Eli, for calling that out. That way, for our replay gang listeners, they know that we didn't just let that one rock. Appreciate that, and the super chat donation as well. But yeah, man. So you said that this was like some sort of situation where Jaire had to pay back $900,000 basically because he didn't play a game for the Eagles. Is that right?
Yeah. And then the top comments from Eagle fans, why didn't Baltimore pay it? I think we're the easy hit right now. Everybody. We're just
Yeah. Oh no, man. It's bad right now, Alex. I've been in, with my ear close to the streets, aka Reddit. That's my place, right? And Bengals fans are just they're calling us all sorts of rat birds,
uh,
rat turds, turd birds. It's bad right now. Like
yeah.
they're saying, like, oh, the league needs to investigate. They're slimy. Trey Hendrickson and the Ravens, they deserve each other. It's getting real down and dirty
Really?
in the internet streets. It is. It is. They're real salty.
Bengal fans. They make their players walk across the street to get to training camp talking about us.
Yeah. Like,
You
come
didn't
on
wanna
now.
pay you didn't wanna pay T, didn't wanna pay Trey. Mm, I
And now we
mean,
get all these narratives. Oh, he's really not that good anyway. I mean, oh, he's 30.
yep,
Yeah, he's 31 years old. It's like, listen, bro.
yep.
Kyle Van Noy had 12 and a half sacks at 33. I don't give a damn about early 30s. You know what I mean? Like, I'm 30 myself, and I feel like I'm in my athletic prime. Damn it. I feel like Trey Hendrickson's got a couple of good years left, at least two, maybe three, right? And we can get out of this deal after 2 years, if I understand the deal correctly, right? It's like 2 years, $60 million guaranteed. After that, it's very easy for the Ravens to get out of that deal. But yeah, again, I don't like all the narratives coming from Bengals fans talking about how Trey Hendrickson sucks and, farewell and all that. It's like, no, I mean, without him, you guys' defense damn near fell apart time and time again. Trey Hendrickson is an extremely high impact player. Again, more on him a little bit later, but yeah, man, they're real salty, super salty.
Yeah, it's funny, coming after Trey Hendrickson like that, like, this guy wanted to play for you, and you kept lowballing him. They kept him on the franchise tag, and I mean, he got hurt, and it hurt his value. I mean, typical Bengal stuff, and your quarterback might wanna get out of there because he just does not have fun playing with you, so interesting. That's very interesting to hear that. I will have to actually pop on the Bengals Reddit, or is that Bengals Reddit or the NFL Reddit where you're seeing
That
this?
was the Bengals Reddit. I had to get right to
Okay,
the source. I get right to
okay,
the source.
okay. Alright. I'll
But
pop
Alex, let's go ahead and get into some pressing news, some more
yeah,
pressing news. This Baltimore Ravens related stuff here. Let me go ahead and transition this over. Bring up our little media room right here. Again, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel as well, because right now we're going to talk about the departure of a dear friend, right? I mean, and this has been a common theme of this offseason, of this free agency period so far. You had Tyler Linderbaum, you had Draymond Jones, you had Isaiah Likely, you had Pat Ricard, right? Charlie Collar, and a couple of others as well. And today, another one officially bites the dust. The Ravens did not tender Keaton Mitchell, and he is now a member of the Los Angeles Chargers. As you guys can see here, Jeremy Fowler tweeting here, Keaton Mitchell signing with the Chargers for 2 years and $9.25 million, with $5 million guaranteed per source, max value of $11.25 mil. So more speed for LA. Alex, what is your knee-jerk reaction? And make sure you throw yours down below in the chat or the comment section. How much are you going to miss Keaton Mitchell? Scale of 1 to 10, man.
I'm gonna miss him like an 8. I mean, obviously he wasn't a huge player for the offense, but you knew what he would bring. You knew his speed was always there. He had that great kickoff return, our final game against the Steelers last year. But I'm happy for him in the sense that he's making more money with them than he would have made here. I think the tender here was like 3.5 mil, I want to say. He's making, the guaranteed 5 there for 2 years and the max value of 11.25. Mike McDaniel is absolutely going to love him. He's going to treat him like his dev on HN. That's what he's going to do. I don't think he'll be, be overloaded with work. He'll get his touches. He'll be used to his strengths. So I'm really happy for Keaton. Ravens West Coast, good on them. And who's their running back? And they had Kimani Vidal last year,
And
Najee
Omarion
Harris,
Hampton.
Omar Hampton. So Keaton will be a good 2 or 3, and he really won't be over. I think he can set himself up for another good payday in a couple of years. So I'm happy for him.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that he can definitely be a very good he can blossom into being a very solid 2. I think Omarion Hampton is the guy that they really wanna go with. I had him in fantasy last year, and, they tried to get him going. I think he got hurt for a couple of games or something like that, but bounced back, and he looked strong towards the end of the year, but I think when they see Keaton Mitchell and what he's able to offer, more importantly, when Mike McDaniel sees what Keaton Mitchell is able to offer, right? Like with that speed around the edge. Like I've mentioned this so many times on this podcast, right? The thing that makes Keaton Mitchell special is not just his sheer speed, but it's the angles he takes as well when he's trying to get around that edge. And that matters because he turns what should be 4 yard or 5 yard gains into 15 or 19 yard gains, right? And that's how he was able to average 5.8 yards a carry last season. Now, of course, he had way less touches, about 100 less touches than Kamari Vidal and Omarion Hampton, respectively. But those guys are about around 4 yards a carry. I think if Keaton Mitchell was getting the same volume that they got, he'd probably be around the same, right? And he gives you that home run play, kind of potential as well. So I definitely, again, I'm happy that Keaton Mitchell got paid. We didn't want to give him anything. And this also goes back to my point, Alex, what I was talking about, earlier in the week. Like a lot of Ravens fans seem to be surprised by the fact that the Ravens are letting go of so many guys that we looked at as staples, quite frankly, on this roster. Again, like I mentioned, the Likeleys, the Linderbaums, the Keaton Mitchells, and and the list goes on. But that's mainly because, I mean, this whole new coaching staff coming in, they have no emotional ties to these guys at all. When have we ever seen such an overhaul of the roster in the John Harbaugh era? You just haven't. Like you normally maybe will get rid of like one or two guys that you really might have thought would have made the roster the next season, but not like 4 or 5, 6 guys. You know what I mean? So it's just you kind of got to take. This is what comes with a brand new regime, right? They're going to fill out the roster with exactly the pieces that they want. They're not really concerned about, oh, this guy's been here for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Like, no, we can get him out of there. Hell, I mean, if Mark Andrews hadn't signed that deal right before Harbaugh left, I don't think Mark Andrews would be a Raven right now. You know what I'm saying? So again, one of those things, again, like you said, I'm very, very happy for Keaton Mitchell. Very happy for Keaton, man. He deserves his payday. Big time.
Yeah, and I think the signing for me that really shows that this team just does not really hold that sentiment is just a Pat Ricard. I think if Harbaugh were to still be here, Ricard would have been here, and that's why he went to the Giants. But I feel like he definitely embodied a Raven. But I think this whole regime and the coach is like, you know what? I don't see the point in having this much cap on a fullback when I can have a tight end block line up back there and also line up as a tight end in one of the 3 spots. So I'm glad it's a new day. But guys like Keaton, I think you take back 2 years ago in 2023 or 3, that game against
Yeah.
the Seahawks. He was arguably probably one of the hottest names that couple of weeks. Just we kind of knew about him. It was like low key, but when he broke out with the long touchdown run and they had that longer like 60-yard burst, should have went for a touchdown if Aguilar could have blocked. Everybody was talking about him. Picked up in fantasy, guys were picking him up, and then he kind of just was about 10 yards a pop a carry. Then he, tore his ACL, MCL against the Jags and had that rough 2024 and look a lot better last year. I'm happy for him. He'll work with a good coach and Mike McDaniel, and I think they'll be able to get him involved in the offense. So good on him. I'm glad though that the team that is just not really feeling as attached. And I agree with you. If Andrews never signs that contract, he's probably in New York right now. New
Oh,
York or
easily.
LA, one of the two. He would not be a
E-
Baltimore Raven.
Yeah, and Isaiah Likely, he actually just signed his contract with the Giants earlier today. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes.
Bittersweet, bittersweet, that we're letting all these guys go. But again, this is what comes with it when you get a new regime. They are going to fill in with the staff that they want, right? Not the staff that's already there. So, and what up, Gerald? Appreciate you for coming through.
Yo yo.
Chat's going crazy right now. Appreciate y'all. Rain Gang is in full effect tonight. We got what? Let me see, about 183 people watching live right now across platforms. We appreciate y'all for coming through, supporting us as usual. If you have not already, please take a second, like the video. We'd appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? Like the video. And if you are new, you're enjoying this content, this Ravens content, please consider subscribing. We appreciate that as well. Let me see. Let me see. We got another super chat donation. Appreciate this one coming from Voldegard 1896. Thank you so much for dropping the 5 in the chat, making it rain here on this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. They say, my main problem is all the guys we are losing is on offense, bro. Like WTF, draft equals 80% offense if they don't trade for AJ. And this is the perfect segue, Alex, because you guys see the thumbnail on the video. Is there a lack of offense right now? Like, how concerned are you for this Ravens offense and really the lack thereof? Because we lost a lot of pieces, Alex. I mean, the interior of that offensive line is still not where it needs to be, right? We lost our playmaking tight end. We lost our change of pace running back. We lost the fullback who literally, as John Gruden loves to say, the stir that straws the drink in that Ravens offense, which sure will look a little bit different this year. But again, pound for pound, you saw how impactful Pat Ricard was for this Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry offense. We lost a lot of other guys as well, Linderbaum as well. I mean, the list goes on and on. So right now, Alex, and let's go ahead and transition here because I want to bring up the depth chart on screen. Right now, what is your assessment of the Ravens offense? Like, where do you think that they're at? I mean, you can kind of take a look here and see, what's really missing. Again, the interior of that O-line, center. Are we really trotting out Corey Bullock to start the season? You know what I mean? Are we really rocking out with John Simpson and Emory Jones Jr. and that's it at left and right guard? You know what I mean? And then adversely on the outside, wide receiver. So we can kind of talk about all of this. Like, are we really going to rock with Zay Flowers being bona fide wide receiver 1, no questions asked? We don't need a D-Hop who on 3rd and 10, we can throw a back shoulder to on the sideline and we can rely on him to go get that because we know that's not Zay's game like that. You know what I mean? Are we going to rely on Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman, Tez Walker? What are you thinking about the offense and how concerned are you?
I mean, right now, I feel like if you would have watched the stream when we missed out on Crosby, I was, calling for heads. But the more you wait, the less the quality goes down for agency. And this, to me, don't sit here and sign Stephon Diggs and say, you know what? Well, that's it with the receiving core. Because for me, that does not move me at all. You might as well just bring back D-Hop and just do what you did last year. I would like somebody else receiving wise, and I need to see more with the line. I know we signed the one guy from the Falcons. He had like 11 snaps, but he had like a 88 grade, I think, blocking. That to me is a backup or somebody who I feel like Dwayne Ledford sees as a possible developmental guy, which I'm perfectly fine with. I'm perfectly fine with, throwing him out there in the preseason, but he should not be starting a guy like that. And you should not be having a UDFA at center. We've been through this before. EDC has seen how this happen. It happens with your quarterback hurt, your quarterback laying in Buffalo with concussion because a snap went over his head. And I am on record with you. I believe you should sign a center, a guy like Cushenberry who's out there, and then you can draft, maybe a guard first, second round, and bring another a vet. But from that line, it's got to get built up correctly. I've seen receiver being talked about in the first or second round. I've seen guys like Tyson being floated around, Jordan Tyson, that is. And I've seen other people saying we should trade up for a guy like maybe Carnell Tate. But for me, my main priority right now is to get this line fixed because you cannot go into the season with rookies on the line. Or one rookie, that is, but he has to be, a first or second round guy. Cannot go in there with, a Ben Cleveland type talent at your starter. It's just not going to go well, especially center wise.
No.
That to me is scary right now. Looking at the center, seeing Corey Bullock is the only center we have on the roster. I know it's early, but I do want to get that fixed out sooner rather than later because the quality just dips massively every single day we keep on waiting.
Yeah. And it really doesn't make any sense to me. And I tweeted earlier today. I said that I think it's very clear. Go out and you acquire a center in free agency, and just like you said, and then go out and you draft Vega Ione if he's there at 14 to play that right guard spot, right? You make those 2 moves, we're cooking with grease. Somebody replied to that tweet saying, why would the Ravens, spend the 14th overall pick on an interior O lineman and pay guaranteed money? You know what I mean? Because I think the first round picks, they're guaranteed some level, they're guaranteed some money, right? I can't remember. It's like a higher percentage or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, like, have Ravens fans completely lost the plot? Because number one, why are you valuing interior O-line so much less than some of these other positions that are around there? right? When the game literally starts and finishes with the trenches, right? The game of football, I say it all the time, it's played from the inside out. That does not just mean the trenches, it also means the interior of the trenches, right? You have to get down to the nitty gritty here. Left and right guard and center, right? Those are some of the most important positions in the sport. I don't care how much Spotrac values them at. I don't care how much, guys in national media, national sports media, or hell, some of these GMs even value them at. That is kind of like, that's the zenith of the sport right there. Having an offensive line and a defensive line that can dominate, right? That's what I'm saying, the interior of the trenches. So it's time to do the right thing, right? The Ravens, they tried to get cute, oh yeah, we're gonna give 2 firsts for Crosby, and then just for a couple of days later, be like, actually, you know what? It was a huge investment. My bad, bro. I already knew about the injury, but you mean you guys kind of, it was kind of on you guys too, right? So let me get those 2 first round picks. We tried to get cute, didn't work. We had to save face, get Trey Hendrickson less than 12 hours later, right? So now that we have Trey Hendrickson, and like I said at the top of the show, comparable talent to Maxx Crosby, now it's time to do the right thing. Okay. Now it's time to go ahead and invest in the trenches for Lamar Jackson specifically, right? Which looks like, yes, eating your vegetables and drafting a guard in the first round. Whatever receiver is available, fine. Pass up on him. Pass on him. And if in 2 years, 3 years, then I'll have to eat crow because we passed on a receiver that was right there for us that ends up being a top 3 receiver in the league, then so be it. But as of right now, what I do know is that nothing that you see here on this chart, like the offensive weapons, none of it can flow correctly if Lamar Jackson does not have protection. Right. So Eli says here, I don't like the EDC's approach on offense. LJ needs help. And this is exactly what I'm saying. Thank you so much, Eli, for your super chat donation. We have another one coming from JR15 dropping the 5-piece in the chat. Thank you so much. Making it rain here on the Purple Rain podcast. Says receiver core is simple. Stephon Diggs, Zay Flowers, Hollywood, and Zay. Alex, you can go ahead and you can respond to what I was saying. You can respond to what JR is saying. What you got for me?
I don't see how this is to what you said, that whoever responded back to you about the whole guard thing. How can you sit there and watch our guard duo last year and say that's not the right pick? I think it's the right pick if you were to take a guard. You cannot have enough quality offensive linemen. Keep your quarterback upright. I mean, come on now. Like we saw what happened last year. We saw Lamar have guys in his face a second after the snap. We saw our linemen just standing there, with their hands in their pants, not knowing who to block. 100% I would take him with the first pick, Vega, that is, for the receiving core. I think he meant Diggs, Zay, Hollywood, and then Bate. I don't think Diggs is coming here. I really don't. I think
Don't need him.
with
Don't need him.
with what has been going on with him, with, like you mentioned, the mysterious substance that was on a boat with some fine young women, I don't think that was gonna fly. We've already had our off the field issues with that, and with Hollywood, I just don't see what he brings here besides maybe trying to get Lamar to sign an extension, if that's what the real goal of that is. He had a good year in Arizona when he left us, but since then he hasn't been his most productive self, and maybe he wants to come back here and thinks he can do that again. I'm not too sure. But I know I'll speak for you right now. I know we are good off of that.
Oh yeah, I'm all
With a
set.
receiver.
All set on smaller
We're good off.
receivers. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all set on that. So absolutely not to Hollywood Brown. When it comes to Diggs, I mean, for just kind of like the character stuff, like you mentioned, I'm all set on that too. Not to mention, I just don't even think that, like, listen, if we're at this point, if we are going to get a wide receiver that can complement Zay Flowers, it has to be what Zay Flowers is not. Not somewhere in the middle, like what a Stephon Diggs would be, but somebody on the totally other end of the spectrum. Okay, so that looks like an AJ Brown. That looks like a DK Metcalf. That looks like one of those bigger body wide receivers who are possession receivers whose game will translate to January when it's cold outside and the ball is hard as a brick, right? And you have to beat press man over and over and over again, right? And you have to be a red zone threat. That's what I think that the Ravens need a wide receiver right now, not guys who are going to get jammed up on the line in the red zone and Lamar Jackson's having to go through this progression to that progression to back to this progression because nobody's really getting open. Okay. They don't need that. They don't need that. You already don't have Isaiah Likely anymore. You need to replace Isaiah Likely and what he was able to offer in terms of a red zone threat, like a legit viable red zone threat who can go up and get it, you know, and put six up on the board. Because Zay Flowers, he's not that guy. Mark Andrews, he has been that guy. Mark Andrews has. I can say that, but he's only getting older. I don't think that his production and, I don't think he's going to get any better, right, than what we've seen in the past couple of seasons. And then you also have Rashad Bateman, who, I think that, if the offensive line is there, then Rashad Bateman can come back to prominence and actually start scoring some more touchdowns in the red zone like he did in 2024, right? So, again, I don't want half the guys that you mentioned here, JR15. I do, of course, I love Zay. I need Zay to step it up, continually. I want Bateman to do his thing. Maybe we do draft like a Michael Trigg, big body tight end. Me and you and Jason were talking about him a couple of weeks ago here on the show. I have to revisit that because we do have an opportunity to go get a guy like that now again. But yeah, it's just right now I do have a concern for the offense, and if I had to kind of rank my level of concern, Alex, for you, I would say that it's at about an 8. It's at about an 8 because I don't know how much I trust Eric DaCosta at this point. It seems like he's very uncomfortable this offseason. It feels like, yeah, I appreciate the big swings. And he's like, oh, we tried to get Maxx Crosby. Oh, and then we also tried to get Trey Hendrickson as well on the same team. It seems like he's taking massive swings, but that kind of makes me question almost, okay, like, are you going to be rational when it's time to be rational? And now is the time to be rational again and do the right thing. He said it yesterday, like now it's time to, invest in the trenches. We're going to do O-line and free agency and maybe a center in the draft. He said something to that effect. I just need to see him have his actions match those words.
I agree. I think one thing I'm worried about is, like you said, in the red zone, who is going to be that guy you go to? Let's say it's 4th and goal and you need a touchdown. Obviously, you have Andrews out there, but who else is your guy? I feel like Zay could get open, but I think D Hop was good for that. He was a good red zone target. Isaiah Likely was that guy at points. He was a great red zone target. I think back to 24, he had a lot of touchdowns in the red zone. And that one against the Steelers just got left open. I would like another guy. For Diggs, I just don't see that happening. I really don't. I know he had 1,000+ yards last year. I just don't think the Ravens take a swing on that. I see guys mention Juwan Jennings. That's not a bad shout. I think he fits the bill we're looking for. A vet.
Nope.
You're not feeling Juwan
I'm all
Jennings?
set. Nope. I'm all set on Juwan Jennings too, bro. I mean, it's just like again. And isn't he was dealing with some I words too. Past couple of seasons, I want to say. He missed some time. Like if we're going to get a wide receiver, and I talked about this yesterday, like wide receiver is a very dependent position. A lot of things have to go right in order for their job to go right, as a pass catcher. And if you're going to couple having a highly dependent position with a guy who has been banged up, I think I'm good on that. And you toss him into a run first offense, I think I'm good on that. I think at this point, Alex, like if it's not going to be a big swing for like an AJ Brown, you just have to kind of draft and pray at this point if you're looking for a receiver for the Ravens. Go ahead, though.
So he had 15 games last year, 643 yards and 9 touchdowns.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was either him or Christian McCaffrey. Those were the only two options. Now, of course, they've got Mike Evans there, and Mike Evans feels like he's the missing piece. I don't know if you heard that earlier today. We'll have to see about that. But yeah, I mean, Juwan Jennings again. It just really doesn't. It wouldn't move me in the way that I feel like it would for a lot of Ravens fans.
28 years old. Still.
Again, man, I'm all good. I'll take a young talent. I'll take a young talent before Juwan Jennings because again, how much is he really going to move the needle relative to what his cap number is going to be, what his cap hit's going to be?
I think as the days go on, that cap number is going to go down. I don't think if you're a couple of days into, I just see Jaquan Brisker sign with the Steelers for $5.5 million for 1 year. I thought he was going to get a much bigger contract than that. I thought he played a lot better than a 1 year, $5.5 million contract last year.
Hmm.
I don't know if maybe guys get desperate, just want to get signed, go to a winning team. I'm not sure, but I would definitely take him as a 2. I think he'd be a great red zone target, something that we need on this team and in this receiving room.
Yeah. Chris says in the chat, this is the side of Sutton that drives me up a wall. What did I do? I don't know what I did. I'm just speaking my mind here, just speaking my mind. But I think you guys have to agree with me here. I mean, like, what are we really doing? And let's take a look at running back really quick, Alex. So, obviously Keaton Mitchell is no longer a Raven, which basically makes Justice Hill, who I'm sure is going to come back from being hurt, he's going to be ready to go in terms of next season. How confident are you in Justice Hill being the second string back now?
Well, he had a neck I word last year, which is always it's tricky.
Those are funny. Yeah.
It's very tricky. We're definitely going to draft a running back. I'd be willing to bet money on that. And we could bring in somebody in the springtime, maybe next month. Maybe somebody gets released. I wouldn't be surprised. Um, but I'm not sure. I mean, I know they like him for his pass blocking, but we haven't heard of him. We haven't heard anything about him since he went down. I know he was probably
Yeah.
supposed to come back, and he just never came back. I'm not feeling Rasheen Ali. I'll tell you that right now. Um, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with him. I think he'll play for us, but I know he was looked at as a cap casualty. Him and Broderick Washington. Could you get some money from those two guys? We have like 55 million cap right now, so that is kind of can get thrown out the window because we have the money.
Yeah. I personally, like we mentioned with the pass protection and everything like that, I would love to see Justice Hill get, because even more so just in the pass protection, Alex. I mean, Justice Hill, he can run between the tackles, he can catch out of the backfield, right? He can do a lot of things. He's a jack of all trades, maybe a master of none. But I mean, you talk about a Swiss Army knife backing up Derrick Henry, can do all things on third and long, when you need him to. I'm I'm actually I'm actually pretty excited about Justice Hill, being back into that solidified RB2 role. Gonna miss Keaton Mitchell, but again, I just didn't think that Keaton Mitchell, for what he was best at, right? How he was most productive was hitting those home run plays, but he wasn't getting the opportunities, that would give him, um, you know, that would make him valuable enough in order to keep. So I do understand there. I have one more question for you, Alex. So
Yeah.
going back out to wide receivers, right? We talked about how, I mean, you got Zay Flowers, not a red zone threat. Rashad Bateman, however you feel about Rashad Bateman, you know, right? I mean, he's going to be a Raven. How would you feel about the Ravens bringing back a DeAndre Hopkins for one more year? Vet minimum deal. I would love it personally. Because again, like I said, guys, like I said, the Ravens need a guy who on third and long, you can target him. And that could be Lamar Jackson's first and really only read, like a back shoulder or something over the middle, just something that you need him to uncover and make a good contested catch. D Hop can still do that at one of the highest levels. We saw multiple times last year. I think there's no reason for the Ravens to not go ahead and re-sign D Hop for another year. What do you think?
If you re-sign D Hop and you're taking a receiver first or second round, in my opinion, because you're then a year away from having to pay Zay, a year away from Bateman's contract. From I know he has 2 years left, but a year from the cap going higher on that, and then you're 1 year closer to D Hop retiring. So I think I'm not mad if you re-sign D Hop, but you're going to be taking a receiver first or second round then, whether it be a Tyson or a Tate, one of those guys. I think that's what it would be, or a Lemon. I think
But I
that's
mean, I disagree though. I disagree because why would they do? I just don't understand, because you're saying that they would spend a first or a second on a wide receiver this year. I don't think that they would. I mean, if you have Zay Flowers, who everybody believes is a one, you know, I want to believe that he's a certified bona fide one. I love him as a two. I just don't know if he's a certified bona fide wide receiver one just yet. But a lot of people do, right? So if you have that and you have a Rashad Bateman, who a lot of people have, faith in. A lot of people have faith in the likes of Tez Walker, and then you throw in a D Hop there too. And oh, by the way, we're a run first offense anyway, with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry as the engine of it all. And you got Mark Andrews still running around. I think you could easily spend that first round pick still on a guard, because the guard's going to make everything else go. It's going to make D Hop have better opportunities. It's going to have Zay Flowers with more opportunities, because Lamar's going to have more opportunities to throw. So I don't think that they would have to spend a first or a second round pick on a wide receiver just because they bought into DeAndre Hopkins. You see what I'm saying?
I feel like we're expecting too much, I think, from Bateman. You know me, I'm a Bateman fan. I just don't know how much.
No, don't say it ain't so. Say it ain't
Listen,
so,
I hope
Alex.
he does good, but I feel like last year, I mean, Puka had more yards and more touchdowns in the game damn near than he had the whole season. Like, I just don't want to be putting all my eggs in that basket because then you're. And who's to say the Ravens are going to sign Zay to a $30 million contract the year after? I'm trying to look forward to the future of this receiving core. And I think if you go first or second, at least you have a guy as a backup plan. Not saying you're going to get rid of Zay. I'm trying to think more towards the future.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, then you got to really, really hit home in the draft this year, then and next year. I mean, you
Yep.
talked about Puka Nacua as a guy who, in a couple of games, had more yards than Rashad Bateman had all season. What round was Puka Nacua drafted in? Right,
Yeah.
like the third round, fourth, or something like that. You know what I mean? You have to eventually, if you're Eric DeCosta, you got to get a signature late round pick that you turn water into wine with. You know, you just have to do that, and I haven't really seen him be able to do that as of yet. I think the closest thing you could say, like, what would you say is like his signature third round or later pick, Eric DeCosta, in his time with the Ravens? Would it be like an Isaiah
Eric,
Likely?
I mean, that's fourth round. I mean, I I thought of a late round pick. I thought of Matt Judon, but that was out of Grand Valley State, and that was Ozzy. Uh,
Like signature, highly impactful. You know what I mean? Third round or later.
I mean, if we're doing third, Matabike in 2020.
Well, sure. Yeah, yeah, for sure. But like
I mean,
skill position.
that's
That's why I
let
was saying
me
likely
pull
because
up. Let me pull
likely,
up our
yeah, for
draft
sure.
list.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. The only one that really comes off to the top of my head in chat, let us know, who you guys think is a signature EDC draft pick, third round or later, because again, like I said, man, you have to start hitting on some of these. You got to find some diamonds in the rough, bro. That's what you're paid the big bucks to do. As Eric DeCosta, you got a new coaching staff in, get collaborative with them. You got a lot of young minds in the building now. Get collaborative with those guys in the war room and go out and get you a guy in the third or the fourth round, a receiver, right? That nobody's really talking about. And turn water into wine with that wide receiver, right? That's what the Ravens need right now. If we're talking about the future of the Ravens receiving core, you've got a guy in Zay Flowers who you think is going to be the guy of the future, right? You're probably going to pay him a second contract, but you got to get a guy who can complement him. And if you're not going to be able to land an AJ Brown or somebody who can truly complement him as a proven commodity, you got to take a risk on a guy in the draft, right? But more importantly, in order to make work with what you already have, you got to fix that O line first.
I'm looking. I'm thinking Namdi in the third. Ben Powers. I mean, he came along well for us. He was a fourth rounder in 2019, and he's been doing pretty well with the Broncos. Well, I'll just go through these guys: Boykin, Hill, Powers. I mean, I'm not going to name guys who aren't in the league like Iman Marshall, Trace McSorley. Like, that's not happening. Geno Stone had
Trace
that one.
McSorley's in the league. He's in the league. He's a
That's
coach,
so.
but he's in the league.
Yeah. I mean, Geno Stone had that one good year in 23 with us, was solid as a backup. Um, like, I'm looking at this stuff. Sean Wade out in the league, or if he is, he's on the practice squad. Dalen Hayes out the league. Ben Mason, practice squad. Stevens got a good contract, but that was, Mike McDonald helped him out a lot. Tyler Bidet has been okay. I'm not seeing a lot like Likely
Nah.
Beaks. And
It's
that's
just
really
not a whole lot. It's
it's
not a
not a
whole
whole
lot,
lot. It's not a whole lot.
So that's what I'm saying. Like at some point, and this is where I hope that, having this new coaching staff and these new ideas in the building, maybe we start to see a shift in the production of our draft picks, right? Some of these other guys are kind of telling Eric DeCosta, like, hey, we really think that X, Y, and Z would work in this, in this scheme, and we can install it this way and whatnot. And he's not working directly with his neighbor, John Harbaugh, where it's just like, you know what, we like that guy. We had a great interview with him. The vibes are good. We're gonna draft him. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think you get what I'm saying though.
Yeah.
Let me see, Gerald with the 7-piece in the chat, that coveted 7-piece,
The
man, for that
7.
Rashad Bateman.
This guy
Appreciate you, Gerald.
loves it.
Gerald says, turning water into wine. Hopefully the Ravens save the best for last. Oh, wait, Travis Jones as well, right?
Travis Jones, yeah.
Do we mention him?
I saw D
Travis Jones,
where
but
he's hit.
yeah. D tackles. He's hit on a couple of those. Jones, Matabike. But when I'm thinking about skill positions, other than Isaiah Likely, that's it. That's it. And that's what we were really arguing about here when it comes to the wide receivers, because that is a skill position. Eventually I do want to see the Ravens hit on a guy third, fourth, fifth round, something like that. But with these higher round picks, you got to really, really invest in what matters the most, and that's the trenches, man. It's not the
Th
sexiest thing to do, I know, but it's the right thing to do.
and this is so 'cause you talked about, the guys later. So I have up all of our draft picks, and it shows me their stats.
Mhm.
Devontae Walker, 7 receptions, 157 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 sack. And then it shows it's me, Adisa Isaac, above him. 4 games, and it's just nothing. It's just a whole nothing burger. It's insane. It really is like 4 touchdowns on 7 catches, and I'm not saying to make the guy the main focal point, but give the guy some more targets. Come on now.
Yeah.
It just makes you wonder.
I know, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. Let me see. Cam here says in the chat, thank you so much, Joe, for the super chat donation. But Cam says here in the chat, EDC said they are high on Jones in the Cordell interview. High on Jones? Are we talking Travis Jones? Which Jones are we talking? Not exactly sure.
Yeah, because I know he got his extension last year, Travis Jones.
Oh yeah, but say I know they're high on him. We definitely know they're high on him. That's for sure. But all right, let's go ahead and get into an Easy G says here, F the vibe. Can the motherfucker play? That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying. That's
yeah.
what I'm saying. And that's why I'm glad Harbaugh's gone because I feel like it was a whole lot of vibes going on in the war room, right? And hopefully with Jesse Minter, Declan Doyle, they're going to be, have their thinking caps on the whole time. Not to say that Harbaugh never had his thinking cap on, but I just think that after so many years of being in and around football, right, you kind of start to just kind of do your own thing, rest on your laurels and philosophies and things like that. And it just got stale. We all knew that. That's why John Harbaugh had to go. And this new regime is here today. But listen now, we got over 300 people watching live this episode 389 of the Purple Rain podcast. We're approaching 400 very, very rapidly,
Yeah.
extremely rapidly. Maybe we should probably do a giveaway for 400. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we do a giveaway for 400. Maybe give away some PRP merch, maybe a jersey again. Who knows? But in order to
Actually,
qualify for
speaking
said
of,
giveaway, you do have to be a member. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm glad you brought it up. I saw today, like, there were some Raven jerseys on sale for cheap on Fanatics. It was like some old guys like Marcus Williams, Owe, Dobbins. They had a Trace McSorley jersey on there for like $19. So if you're looking for a new
Trace
jersey,
McSorley, throw it on a
yeah,
dime. Okay. All right.
yeah. If you're into that, if you're into collecting jerseys, just a heads up for you. But yeah, 400 is rapidly approaching, and the way that the offseason's been going, it could be like in 2 weeks, could be 400.
It
Honestly,
could be,
yeah,
right. We've been flying through these episodes, especially this week, man. I mean, I think you said fourth consecutive episode today. I mean, it's definitely a record here on the channel. So if you've been rocking out with us this week, you have made history here with us on this channel because we've gone live 4 consecutive days in a row on the main pod here. But Alex, let's go ahead and talk about Trey Hendrickson a little bit more, right?
okay.
Because Trey Hendrickson, he is the Ravens' newest acquisition. I feel like we haven't really did a deep dive into exactly what Trey Hendrickson is going to bring and offer this Ravens defense. I know a lot of people, and by the way, Jabari Cruz Ellis just
Sorry.
became a member of the Rain Gang. Thank you so much, Jabari. You are automatically now entered for our giveaways. You're automatically entered for our giveaways. Now that's all you have to do is become a member on here on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. I know a lot of you guys are watching over on X. If you're watching on X, come over to YouTube sometime, check us out on there. But if you want to stay on X, all good, all good. Give us a follow on there, though. Both of our at handles are on the video. Now, listen, Trey Hendrickson, right? Alex, I want you to take a look at this video, some of this tape here from Trey, and tell me what you see, what he'll be able to offer this Ravens defense. As you can see, he likes to line up out very, very wide, 3-point stands, hand in the dirt. And really, the main thing that, and I guess I'll just start here. The main thing that I see when I look at Trey Hendrickson rushing the passer, Alex, is just kind of like him using his size. The guy is 6'4", damn near 270 pounds. He's kind of got like a thicker frame. He
Yep.
reminds me of like one of those guys from like one of those like corn-fed boys from like Nebraska or something like that. He's got a frame like that. It's real thick, built like a fridge. And he uses that size and sheer power and force to get around some of these bigger linemen. I think you can kind of see it right here. This is going up against Cleveland Browns starting left tackle DeJuan Jones, right? DeJuan Jones is, quite frankly, just not fast enough to keep his hands on him. He's not fast enough at all. And, he's also got the power to get through him. Now, here is a little clip here from him against the Ravens. What I found when I was looking at the tape against Trey Hendrickson, against the Ravens, Ronnie Stanley was keeping him in check. He was keeping him in check for the most part. So it kind of was refreshing to see Ronnie Stanley still being one of the, still performing at a pretty high level. But again, taking a look at what you see here, Alex, what are you really excited about most when it comes to Trey Hendrickson being a Raven?
There's two things Trey
Okay.
Hendrickson loves. Number one
Mhm.
is Jesus, and number two is sacking the quarterback. That is one thing I have learned about him in the past 20 some hours that that he's been a Raven. I've been able to do my little research on him, kind of find out who he is as a person, as a football player. He's violent as a football player, I tell you that. Loves sacking the quarterback, and he just loves Jesus. So all those things to me make up a fantastic man and a fantastic football player. I think what from we saw, even with the whole Lamar thing, he didn't quit. Still ran down the field, got the tackle. That to me is huge. You know, some guys will quit on that play because they can't get him. We've seen it happen. We've seen guys kind of drop their knees and just watch him play. He went after him. And also, I'm glad he's a 6'4" because I think he will get more of those deflected passes in this offense to try to throw his way. He'll get those big hands up, which I can only imagine how high that would be with his arms. But he's just bringing me something that we haven't had in a while, and all that could be 17 and a half sacks. I did find out he's a leader as well on the field. I was able to watch some Bengals mic'd up, the way he talked to his teammates, the way he would rally the guys together, and they rallied around him. So I know we talked about the whole intangibles of Maxx Crosby, but we're not getting the same amount, but we're still getting a leader in Trey Hendrickson, which I'm actually really excited for. So if you haven't, definitely look up some Bengals videos of him and just kind of hear how he talks and hear how other players talk about him. It is good to see. And Kwame, it's a huge upgrade over Kyle Van Noy, upgrade on all those guys that we had on there. And I think, our guys could learn. Mike Green could learn something from him. 100% could learn a lot from him. And if we were to draft somebody, an edge rusher, could learn from him as well. So that would,
I think that
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think that Mike Green, you just talking about him, he's going to benefit from this simply because of the gravity that Trey Hendrickson is going to command to his side of the field, right? You're going to see backs on his side on that side of the field chipping him, tight ends on that side of the field chipping him as well, to try to stop him from getting home, and that's going to leave Mike Green one on one. One on one. And one thing I noticed here, Trey Hendrickson, I don't know exactly how he's going to look in Minter's defense and Weaver's defense, but in Cincinnati, he mainly rushed over the left tackle, right? So I, I know that Mike Green, he was primarily rushing. Well, they kind of switched him up a bit, but I feel like I saw him most rushing over the left tackle. But of course, he'll slide over to that right side. I'm sure they'll probably alternate the two as well, depending on what they think. But again, my point is Mike Green is going to have some one-on-one opportunities with this guy because Trey Hendrickson, and I mentioned this in the short video I posted yesterday, he's like a bull in a china shop, right? I mean, he just like barrels through guys. It's like, oh yeah, I'm not getting you with the swim move. Okay, I'm just gonna keep my feet churning, right? And I'm 6'4", 270, and I'm gonna back you up into your quarterback. You know what I mean? So, it's like he's too fast for the bigger offensive tackles, like you saw right there against Dewan Jones. He's too fast, and look here against David Njoku, puts him in a blender, an absolute blender.
he looked like the
You know what I
receiver
mean?
on the corner.
Exactly, bro. Puts him in a blender, dog. And so he's too fast for for these offensive tackles to keep up with him on the edge, but he's also too powerful for if they do get their hands on him, they can't stonewall him because he's too powerful. And I feel like that's something that Mike Green was missing, right? Mike Green he's got the bag, right? He's got the pass rushing tools, he's got the speed, but he just doesn't have that power yet. Right. If you can get that power and add that to his bag, he'll basically be another Trey Hendrickson, because Mike Green uses his hands really well. He just doesn't have the power to go with it yet. So I think that's what we're getting from Trey. Honestly, I cannot wait to see how you see kind of rush patterns with him, Mike Green coming from the other side, and then who knows, Kyle Hamilton shooting through the A gap or the B gap. Like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, I can only imagine the quarterback clock because there's just so many things you have to worry about, right, Alex? I mean,
Yes.
pre-snap, think about it. You're the quarterback. You're Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, whoever the hell, right? You have to make sure you know exactly where multiple people are on the field at all times. I got to know where Kyle Hamilton's at. Where's 14? Okay. All right. I know where 14's at. Now, what is he doing? What does it look like he's doing? Right? Is he blitzing? Is he dropping out in coverage? I'm not sure. I know 91 over there. I know he's definitely coming after me. He's gonna have his hair on fire. You know what I'm saying? And then I've also got to worry about Roquan Smith lurking, multiple time Pro Bowler there. Nate Wiggins, that kid's really good. I can't just blindly throw his way. There's just so many things, man. And oh yeah, there's number 45. Who was his number 45? He was barely on the freaking scouting report. Mike Green, second year guy. I mean, he didn't do anything last year, but he's all over me, right? Because my entire offensive line is trying to protect from all these other demons, you know? So it's just, I can only imagine. I can only imagine the sleepless nights that offensive coordinators and quarterbacks are going to have getting ready for Ravens week, you know, as they would call it when you're preparing for the Baltimore Ravens, man. I cannot wait to see this defense.
I'll tell you what now, his former team just extended their left tackle in Orlando Brown, so we'll be playing him 2 times a year, lining up against him 2 times a year, which I'm looking forward to seeing that matchup as well. Um, Everything about it, I think I'm really excited for it. I'm growing more and more to like it. I just think he has a lot of juice left in him. The way I kind of saw him with the Ravens media today, I think he's happy to be here. Obviously, 60 million guaranteed will do that, but I think the fact he took less money to come here than to re-sign with other or to sign with other teams, the Bengals in particular, that kind of says something to me as well. Like he has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, so you really can't put a price tag on that. I'm thinking now. Let's say I know there's been rumors of us playing the Cowboys in Brazil, but let's say our first game. Let's say it's against a division rival. What's your starting lineup of your guys on the D line? How are you coming out? Let's say we win the toss, we defer. And here comes that Ravens defense led by Jesse Minter. Who do you want to see?
Uh, I mean, I'm looking at BK, of course, not even out of BK. I'm looking at Travis Jones. I'm looking at more than likely John Jenkins in the middle there. If we're going 3-4, then Tavius, not Tavius. We're depending on the down, right? Mike Green and Trey Hendrickson on the outsides, and then you've got Roquan Smith and either Teddy Buchanan or Trenton Simpson, whichever one is ready to go when the time is right. You said against Dallas, right? Is that what you said?
It could be. I mean, there's a rumblings for playing them in Brazil, and that
Oh
would be
yeah,
a
I
week
heard
one
about that.
game.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Which
right. That's right. That's right. Um, damn, I hope they don't play in Brazil. I wanted to go to that Dallas game. I've never been to Jerry World. Anyway,
yeah,
anyway, yeah, that's who I would have out there. If they were in like a base 3-4 defense, 3-4 look, then yeah, I'd have John Jenkins, Nnamdi Madubuike, and Travis Jones hand in the dirt, and then have Mike Green, Trey Hendrickson standing up over, the left and right tackles, and then you have Roquan Smith, and probably to start the season, I would assume it would be Trent Simpson. I heard Teddy Buchanan's on track to starting. But if Trenton Simpson has a strong camp, you know what I mean? He's looking really good. The coaches grow a liking to him. I think he'll get the nod to start, especially considering he ended the season pretty strong last year.
yeah. I think now it's only March 12th. I wouldn't be surprised if we were to get maybe another edge rusher. I know we talked about possible trades. I know Jonathan Grenard's still somebody out there you could trade for from the Vikings. I know that's definitely a name I wouldn't hate for maybe a draft pick. But yeah, I would definitely be cool with that. And obviously secondary, not to talk too much about that. Awuzie now is re-signed, so I wonder how if they want to sign maybe another vet corner or if they could draft somebody. But now you got Marlon, you have Wiggins, you have Awuzie as I imagine are starters, and then TJ Tampa behind him, maybe another vet or you draft somebody. So looks like they're gonna run it back with the secondary. Then obviously you have Jalen Hawkins, who I feel like is a sneaky pickup. The more and more I'm reading on him, how
Oh
good he
yeah,
was, the more I watch on him.
super,
Yeah,
super sneaky. Top
that
5 safety last year.
2 year 10 mil, by the way. Wow, that's very very exciting. So
Yeah, it's gotten
Minter,
lost in the whirlwind of news this week,
yeah,
right? But Jalen Hawkins, that's probably some of the better news that we've got. Trey Hendrickson, of course, blows it out of the water. You get a star pass rusher, cool. But the effects that Jalen Hawkins is going to have on the back end of that defense and what that allows for Kyle Hamilton to do around the line of scrimmage. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no reason for this defense not to be absolute organized chaos this year for all the reasons that I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, all the things that you have to worry about as a quarterback and offensive coordinator pre-snap. Right, where is this guy? Where is that guy? Jesse Minter, he likes to roll guys down in coverage and give you different disguises and looks and things like that. It's going to be extremely difficult for opposing offenses to get the better of this Ravens defense. I know that, but this is why, again, I go back to saying now it's time to do the right thing on offense. Shore up the interior of that O line, and Lamar will handle the rest. That's what it comes down to me. You got to get that O line right, and Lamar will take you home. He'll carry you home. We've seen him do it before. We've seen him do it before in 2019. I say it all the time, guys, with way less talent than what we have right now. Right, won MVPs with way less talent, but that offensive line was right though. That's the difference.
man, that's really true. And one final thing about the whole Hawkins, I think our biggest gripe with Alohi Gilman was missing tackles. Jalen Hawkins is a sure tackler, and that is something that we had to improve on. Our tackling at points last year was abysmal. To be nice, like guys were definitely getting through us, and I'm hoping that gets back to the Raven standard and wrapping guys up and not missing tackles. So definitely excited about seeing what Jesse Minter has dialed up, and obviously Anthony Weaver as well. He'll be working with those guys. So is it what, August yet? It's only March. We still got the draft to go through. Still got more of the free agency
It's
to go through.
only March, Alex. This is
Yeah.
crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. Like, and I think I put it in the chat. Like, I think I put a poll in the chat. Like, what would you grade this Ravens offseason so far as we stand today? You know, Trey Hendrickson, the whole Maxx Crosby thing. You can take
Yeah.
all of that and put it into the same context. Like, what would you give as a grade for the Ravens offseason so far?
I can't go above a C plus strictly due to the line. If you were to fix the lineup, I can definitely put it higher. But I think me and you, that was our main priority this offseason, was getting that line right. And until that line gets right, I'll stick at a C plus. But it can easily go up higher if you were to invest in the O line and get those trenches right. So yeah, I'll go with the C plus right now. Definitely expect more to happen. I don't know if we lost Sutton here. I think we may have lost Sutton, may have closed out the tab. But yeah, I'll go with a C plus when you think about it. So you have John Simpson, you sign. You have Durham Smythe, who basically takes over the Kolar position. You have Jalen Hawkins, who would take over, or Darius. I think that's a pure upgrade in that sense as your third safety. You have Hendrickson, who takes over any of the edge rushers. So yeah, I'll go C plus. I'll go C plus. Just
That's
for
fair.
players, it
That's
is.
fair. Yeah. I mean, I like C plus. I like C plus. I mean, I think the whole Maxx Crosby thing really, because if the Maxx Crosby thing hadn't have happened and we just got Trey Hendrickson, for the price we got him, and we never even consider giving up those 2 first-round picks, so you didn't you know, introduce me to that vibe that you couldn't maintain, as we like to say. If they didn't do that, then I would give this offseason so far maybe like a B plus. It'd be looking really good. Hell, maybe even an A. But since they did pull that little stunt, again, you can say my emotions are in it, whatever. I'm gonna go with a C plus right now too. So I agree. I agree with you, bro. Let me see. We do have still over 300 people watching live right now. As we're going to go ahead and get ready to wrap this episode of the show up, please be sure to leave a like on this video, guys. Please, please, please leave a thumbs up, guys. You guys don't even understand how much that helps us out here at the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. Let's try to get to like 100 likes. You know what
Why
I'm
not?
saying? You know what I mean? Like, why not? Why not? Right? So like the video, it goes a long way for us. And subscribe, if you're new, because I know we got a lot of new people watching right now, a lot of new people listening. So if you are listening and you have been enjoying today's content, right? Again, my name is Sudden Death. That's simply AS10. We do this Baltimore Ravens podcast every single week. If that sounds good to you, please go ahead and consider hitting that subscribe button down below. And again, we are rapidly approaching episode 400 of the Purple Rain podcast. And when we do hit episode 400, we will be doing another giveaway right here on the channel. And all you have to do to qualify for the giveaway and a chance to win is become a member of the Rain Gang family, the official Rain Gang membership, the Purple Rain patrons. We love those. We love those guys so much. Let me see who's in here who's a member. Jeremiah is in the house. What's going on, Jeremiah? Member in the chat. We got Quincy in the chat who's a member as well. Appreciate you, Quincy. I believe I saw Chris M was in the house as well earlier. Appreciate you, Chris. Thank you so much. Herb is in the house. What's going on, Herb? He's a member as well. We got Mike. Mike, what's going on, Mike? Who's also a member here, part of the hashtag Rain Gang family. We appreciate each and every one of y'all so much for coming through. And we also had Jabari. Jabari just became a member today. Shout out to Jabari. He is now a member of the Rain Gang family as well. So again, much love. Appreciate all of you guys. And again, like the video. Other than that, Alex, you got anything else for me?
Well, I have some non-football for you.
Okay.
It was 80 degrees here in Maryland yesterday. I go to leave work today. My car was covered in snow. To the point where
What?
wet snow where I had to get covered in snow.
That doesn't even make
Thankfully, I
sense.
keep my brush in my trunk, and I was able to get it off. But yes, it was 80 degrees here. And that's why I think I'm so congested and just like all messed up, is because of this weather. We've had 80-degree days yesterday, and then it was snowing today here in Maryland. You gotta love it. We've experienced all 4 seasons in the past week, maybe in the past 3 or 4
No
weeks.
way. I don't understand how it could be possible for it to be 86 degrees one day and then snowing the next day. Like, the atmosphere wouldn't even have cooled down enough yet for snow to reach the ground. But I guess it did. That's kind of crazy, bro.
Yes,
I mean, end times might be ahead, Alex. I'm not gonna lie to you.
it's
It's
crazy.
kind of crazy. That's
It's
wild. That's
like I
wild.
walked out of the house, it was around 50 degrees today, wearing a rain jacket, and I come out, I'm like, oh, I should wear my snow jacket. It's just, it's crazy here. It genuinely is crazy. And now it's, I think my watch knows, it is around like 40 degrees now. So it's been a day. It's been a couple of days here in Maryland, if you're wondering. So hope you don't miss it that much. I really hope you don't.
Yeah, I don't miss the bipolar weather. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard, Alex. Truthfully. But listen, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Thank you so much again for watching episode 389 of PRP. It's been an amazing episode. Thank y'all so much. Again, be sure to like the video before you get out of here. Subscribe to the channel as well. And oh yeah, real quick, by the way, there will be a brand new episode of Sutton Reactions for those of you guys who watch that show. Very soon here after we finish up here on PRP. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And if you want to be notified when we do go live for Sutton Reactions here in maybe about T minus 30 minutes or so, I would say, please be sure to turn on the notifications for this page, for this channel. We appreciate that. But with that being said, I'm going to let my guy Alex take us out.
Thank you for coming through to episode 389 of the Purple Rain Podcast. 4th consecutive episode of PRB. We love you. We appreciate you. And as always, stay positive and test negative.
Yes, yes, yes. And never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. It's been episode 389 of PRP. We're going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.